Hey there, America. I am Leslie Marshall. Our guest, Mark Frobose, language expert, best-selling foreign language author, and creator of Macmillan Audio's best-selling behind-the-wheel language programs in 15 languages, especially Spanish, today, because it's Cinco de Mayo, mi amigos. It is a pleasure to have him with us, and we're going to talk about this, appropriately enough, on Cinco de Mayo. Hola, Mark. Welcome to the program. How you doing?
Hi, Leslie. How are you? Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, happy Cinco de Mayo. You know what, Mark? I don't always know my guest in advance, right? And I wish I did. I'm going to France in June, and I need to brush up. So I need to do this myself. I need to get your French version or your French language version of Macmillan Audio's best-selling behind-the-wheel language programs. And I would imagine French is one of the 15 languages, correct?
Oh, it is, absolutely. As a matter of fact, French is one of our best languages. And if you want to speak French quickly and easily, in a non-grammatical way, in a non-intimidating way, take it anywhere with you because audio is very portable. Behind-the-wheel French is definitely for you.
You know, you hear different, people talk about when learning a language, different ways to learn a language. For example, some people say you don't memorize and you don't translate in your head, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I speak conversational Spanish. I lived in Mexico for a few months, and I speak with a major gringa accent. And I speak grammatically entirely incorrect. You know, if you translate it to English, it would be ridiculous because I do literally translate in my head. But do you agree that somebody needs to understand it or absorb it as opposed to memorize and translate in their head?
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I built the behind-the-wheel audio line, Leslie, with the idea of taking the foreign out of language. And I built the entire program based on this premise, which is why look up meanings and not understand what people are saying when understanding language is fundamental to learning it. And most language learners spend over 50% of their time guessing at meanings rather than learning the language. So instead of having a cow mooing in the distance when you're listening to an audio program, why not just say, look, this is how you say cow? And then you slowly incorporate it and kind of wean the learner off of English in a gradual fashion. It works a lot better that way.
Absolutely. Do you think, I've always thought it's really a shame that we're one of the only country. I mean, seriously, I've traveled the world and I've been very blessed to. And let's just say India, even some of the poorest people, they might speak their native tongue, and there's so many languages in India, but Hindi or one version of Hindi yes, exactly. And they're speaking Hindi, but they do understand me in English, or they speak a little English. And it just amazes me how many how many people throughout the world, kids, especially in Europe, speak 2 or 3 languages, and many of us have a problem with English. But I think it's so necessary to learn another language, and I think it's not only helpful, but it helps make the world smaller and us become closer to the rest of the world. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with our guest. I'd love for you to call up and ask your questions, share your opinions, your comments, and your concerns. Ah, yes, my days in Mexico, where my name was scratched on the wall somewhere down there, I kid you not. My real name, though, Leslie Marshall. Good evening and welcome, or welcome back to the only true democracy in talk radio. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and I hope everybody's enjoying their margarita, their cerveza, con limon, little tecate with lime, or their tequila. Mark Frobose and I are enjoying a great conversation. We hope you'll join us at 888-6-LESLIE, 888-653-7543. He's our guest. He's a language expert, best-selling foreign language author, and creator of Macmillan Audio's best-selling behind-the-wheel language programs in 15 languages. We're talking about Spanish today, especially Cinco de Mayo, but if you're like me and going somewhere, I'm going to France on vacation in June. Mark, thanks for holding. Welcome back. Isn't it sad, though, that more Americans and more American children aren't learning another language? Or are you finding that picking up, that more people want an understanding of a different language to expand themselves business-wise, resume-wise, to be able to do business with people abroad?
Absolutely, Leslie. Listen, I see a real explosion in interest in the United States to learn other languages. The problem is I see very few language programs totally addressing the issue of the psychology of learning languages. Now, you mentioned that Europeans speak more than one language. Why is that? Well, it's because they have a paradigm, a mental set that tells them that it's okay to learn more than one language. In America, typically the model is, immigrants come here, they learn our language, and we sort of shed the language of the mother country. That's changing, and I do see a huge emphasis right now in the United States to want to get out and learn. The thing that's lacking is the technology, and that's why I developed the behind-the-wheel, Spanish, French, Italian, Mandarin, Chinese, method because I wanted to simplify the language learning process. I personally got a D in French when I was in middle school. In fact, I was even told I couldn't take a French class because my algebra scores were too low, and I still haven't figured out what the correlation was. And now I speak 7 languages fluently.
Can I ask? I'm just curious. How long did that take you to learn 7 languages? I mean, you're fluent in 7 languages.
I'll tell you what. Here's the secret, and I'd like to share this with your listeners. And I'm writing a book right now about this. You can become a polyglot by studying language families. Now, you see, you've already learned Spanish, and you have a wonderful accent. I don't agree that your accent's not good. I think your accent sounds great. And once you've learned one language within, say, the Romance language family, which is based in the language of Rome, which is Latin, a Latin-based language like Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, or Romanian, then you automatically have learned huge portions of other languages within the same family. So you're learning more than one language simultaneously, and you'll become a hyper-polyglot. For example, as you learn French, you'll notice that the Spanish word triste means sad, but in French it's triste. In Portuguese it's tristi. In Italian it's triste. And in Romanian it's triste. So they're so similar, right. You've learned them all.
Let me tell you about that. That is so true. I went to Italy last June. My mom was born in Sicily, and it was her 70th birthday. My brothers and I took her back to the house she was born in. She left there when she was like a week old. And my brothers and my mom does not speak Italian because the mindset then of her parents was, you're American, you speak, quote, American or English. So she understood it, but then once her parents died, and they died younger, she didn't use it, and it was a shame. So we're in Italy, and in Sicily especially, less people speak English on the island of Sicily. And when I was there, I could not believe having a command of Spanish. We got lost. I was flipping out, and the guy's talking to me, and I looked at my brother, and my brother said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I understood him." He said, "What?" I said, "I understood him." And I was so excited. And I was so excited that I just felt like, the big sister here, that I was actually getting us through this town, this little hill town, and that, that I really could understand some of it because I understood Spanish. So I agree with you. Knowing one can help you with others if there are similarities.
I mean, listen to the similarities of this. For example, cantar in Spanish, to sing, cantare. Okay, so I mean, volar, to fly, volare in Italian, very similar. And then if you're, let's just say that
and everybody thought it was a car that Ricardo Montalban was selling, right? Go ahead.
Yeah,
exactly. My nasty joke.
And it's so easy. Well, let's just say you went with a Spanish speaker to Italy, and the Spanish speaker doesn't have any Italian background at all, and you're in a market together. And then the vendor says, 55. Okay, well, the American goes, hello. And the Spanish speaker says, he just said 55. And the American guy says, well, what do you mean 55? I thought you said you didn't know any Italian. The guy said, I don't, but it sounds just like 55. And in French, it's 55. So, I mean, it's just learning within a language family is a very useful way to become an instant polyglot in 5 languages if you decided you wanted to pick the Romance language family. But you can do it with other language families as well.
Hey there, America. I am Leslie Marshall. Our guest, Mark Frobose, language expert, best-selling foreign language author,